All right, testing 1, 2, 3. Yo, what's good, everyone? I appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is going to be a real short video. We got to talk a little bit about what's going on with the weather and the ensuing parking wars that have just gotten crazy. Um, I will say the parking wars over digging out your space have gotten crazy, but I will also say that I completely understand how some of these things happen. Not saying there's not a level of ignorance to it. I'm not saying it is the right thing to do, but I am saying, as someone who had to dig out spaces for full vehicles, I did my neighbors, my spaces, I can understand how it could lead to a fight. I'm Marcus. Here we do attorney reactions to current events, trending news. Before we dive into the parking stuff, I do got one non-parking related story that's is actually a terrible story, but how could I put this? I, like, can the person look inherently like they're up to no good? you call you call 311 today over the parking is hilarious. That's actually funny. I know that I was at work and I was just like, I was praying, like, please, Lord, don't let nobody be in my space when I get home. Because, like, I got a backup plan, but a lot of people don't have a backup plan. That's actually funny. You call 311. I want to know how that played out. And I don't know, like, that's interesting. You called 311. Like, was it a personal assigned spot and something like that? Outside of that, if it's on a public road, I don't know if you would necessarily have any recourse. But before we jump into the parking wars, let's go ahead and start up with a non-parking related video. This video is actually terrible. This guy uh, is alleged to have done some heinous crimes, and he's probably going to go away for a while. But do you all think it's possible for someone to just look inherently like evil? I know that's actually crazy to say, because people look how they look. But, like, have you ever seen someone and, like, yo, the person could be nice, but you've seen someone and look at them and you just like, yo, I don't know what this guy is about or this individual is about, but they inherently look like whatever the fuck it is related to them is probably going to be bad news. So I want y'all to take a look at this next story. Then we're going to jump into Parking Wars. I'm going to actually pull up the history of my watch later list of the stories we're going to cover because I want y'all to see the thumbnail. When I saw the thumbnail to this guy, like, I don't know if this is normal look. I don't know if the cops whipped his ass and his face was swollen or what, but nothing about this individual. Like, I don't know. If I'm walking and I seen this dude, I'm gonna be like, I mean, it happened all the time. You gotta is stereotypes, and stereotypes are wrong, but sometimes sometimes stereotypes can save your life. And this thumbnail was just a very interesting thumbnail. Once I heard what the allegations were, I thought to myself, this individual looks like someone who would be charged with doing something this heinous. That's just me. Now, again, I know everybody look a certain way, but I don't know. Is it possible for an evil person to have a look that just says, you know what, they already on some bullshit? Like, y'all let me know what y'all think. Let's check out the thumbnail. This gentleman right here in this image, okay? Now we're gonna go look at this story. But when I saw this thumbnail and the article associated with it, I don't know. I wasn't shocked when I heard the allegations because, is it just me? That's just I don't know. That person looks like they just have evil in their eyes. I know mug shots aren't going to be like glamour shots and you aren't going to look handsome or attractive, but something about that mug shot on that guy that, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it's nothing about this guy's image in this photo that a jury would see and be like, you know what? We're going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Let's read a little bit about, or let's dive into this story to see what he was charged with. This is actually very limited reaction. It's going to be more of a reaction as a person, less reaction as an attorney, but we're going to talk about it if a legal issue come up, we'll discuss it. But the allegations, I'm giving everybody the graphic warning when you hear these allegations. So if you got a weak stomach, you can't hear certain type of assault type things, you may want to mute it for this story before we get to the parking war stuff that is still stupid, but is a little bit lighter than this.
This brutal attack went on for hours against this poor woman in her own home. Allegedly, DeKenta Parchman beat her repeatedly and sexually assaulted her with a hair straightener that was turned on.
The crime scene photos in and of itself, I think, speak to the significance of this assault.
Torture, criminal sexual.
This guy right here, bro, like, I'm telling you right now, like, I'm not saying I'm a tough guy, but I don't really get shook easily. But like, if I'm walking in an alley at night and I see this dude standing there, I'm just gonna go ahead and cross the street just out of just for GP, out of abundance of caution. That's a face that only a mother could love. Like, everything about this guy, that shit just, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess a person, that dude inherently looks evil to me. I hate to say it. When you hear the allegations, it sounds bad. I've represented people charged with some heinous assaults before. Nothing this equally terrible, but not this extreme. And this guy, that's a face that only a mother could love, because that dude right there, nothing about him says to be trusted or relied upon or to leave him with anything. Like, nah, that dude looked like the Black Joker. He actually looked crazier than the Joker. It's actually insane. But let's finish listening to what was going on.
Conduct and assault. It's what 30-year-old DeKenta Parchman is charged with for terrorizing an ex-girlfriend late last month at this Van Buren Township apartment. Investigators tell Fox 2 he showed up at his ex's house drunk and started punching her in the face. Then he smashed ashtrays over her head and continued to violate her using a hot hair straightener. The beating went on with an extension cord and more blows to her head.
This is actually insane. They clearly have a witness. This clearly isn't going to go well for this guy. The fact that this was a girlfriend, I guarantee you that it was some crazy ass whipping type of stuff going on before this happened. I think it's very unlikely that this incident that occurred that was this extreme was the first instance of any type of physical assault. Yeah, I mean, that not saying it's not possible, but that's a very, very, very low likelihood.
After about 3 hours of this agony, she was able to escape to a neighbor's place where they called police. But before they got there, Parchman allegedly stole her car and left. Earlier this week, the U.S. Marshals tracked him to Taylor. He was in a car when he was arrested with 7 bullet wounds that hadn't been treated. They came from some kind of shootout in Inkster during his time on the run, something he brought up in court Tuesday.
I got shot 7 times.
Now he's sitting there shot up in court. Like, I'll be honest, if I'm the judge, I would legit be like, sir, I don't give a fuck about what you talking about over there. I don't care. Like, and it's crazy. Like, a guy like this gets shot 7 times and he fucking survived. The heinous ass stuff that he did, he got shot 7 times and he's still here. But like, you know, a good wholesome law abiding citizen who don't do no crazy shit will get shot in the toe and die of severe blood loss. I don't know why it's always like that, but he had the audacity, after what he was charged with doing to this woman, 3 hours of torture, to sit his ass in a courtroom and try to talk about how he got shot 7 times as if the judge should give a flying fuck. This is actually ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, justice almost got served when they hit him 7 times and he survived. It was interesting. I would like to know what the shootout was about, who the shootout was with. That would be interesting. But yeah, this dude is definitely a menace to society, and it's a good thing that he's off the street.
Shootout in Inkster during his time on the run, something he brought up in court Tuesday.
I got shot 7 times Sunday. And I still got bullets in me they're supposed to get out, and my hand was supposed to get surgery, and my knee, my leg broke.
Parchman, no stranger to the prison system, serving time for unlawful imprisonment, drugs, and a home invasion. The woman who he attacked spent several days in the hospital and is still recovering from her serious injuries. A judge gave Parchman a $250,000 cash bond, no 10%. With all of his priors, if he's found guilty on these latest charges, he's looking at some serious prison time. Reporting in Van Buren Township.
If the judge was actually nice, he getting with those allegations and his background, man, I'm like, yo, you got a $1 million cash bond, because a $250,000 cash bond, like, honestly, that's like not necessarily impossible for somebody to make. A house, you probably could put a house up and cash out a refinance and get money for that, a retirement account. Not saying this individual has it, but it's possible he has family members. Like, yeah, when I hear like that type of torture and shit that went on, like, no, you're gonna get $1 million cash bond. And if you do come up with $1 million, we're gonna attack a source of funds. I want to know where the money came from to make sure it didn't come from any illegal activities, since you have drug charges in your background. Like, I'm just throwing the book at this dude, but yeah, I just wanted to show that video because that guy is ridiculous. Like, that guy is actually ridiculous, and it's a terrible story. Hey, prayers to the victim in that case, because that's fucked up. That was some heinous stuff. All right, let's get to something a little bit more lighter. Let's talk about these parking wars. Now, this is actually an old story that somebody sent me from a previous snowstorm that was 3 years ago, but I thought this was light enough to start this off. I don't even know how this happened. I don't know how this lady got in this situation. It's kind of stupid and ridiculous. I'm glad she survived it, but I don't even know how the fuck this happened. Let's check this story out.
A woman in South Lake Tahoe should consider herself pretty lucky. Take a look at how buried in the snow this car is. A California snowplow driver couldn't even see it until he hit the vehicle from behind while plowing the street. Since the car was parked illegally, he called police to get it towed. After officers arrived, he helped dig it out of the snow when a woman stuck her hand out of the window.
How the fuck was she in that car? I don't even know how that happens. How are you in that car and that much snow gets on your vehicle and you just don't get out? You don't go nowhere. You don't try to walk nowhere. Now, I know they I know they're in an area where they at an elevation. It's a kind of a mountainy type area, so the snow is going to be thick out there. But in order to get that much snow on your car, you had to have been sitting in the car for a long ass time. This lady, is no way the car could have ran being covered in that much snow. Because once the temperature drop, y'all already know the car zap your battery quick. If you got a weak ass battery, you'll know as soon as the weather start getting cold, because your shit will be struggling to start. I don't even know. I can't even imagine what she was doing. Was her car stranded and did she just sit there? I actually tried to find stories about this and how it happened, but I couldn't find anything. But this is absolutely ridiculous. She was illegally parked and the plow was plowing the street and actually hit her car because she was illegally parked.
Officers arrived. He helped dig it out of the snow when a woman stuck her hand out of the window. The 48-year-old said she had been trapped for 4 or 5 hours, but officials, they think that it was probably longer than that. She walked away from the scene unharmed. City leaders say the woman could have died had the plow driver not found her in time. They issued a warning against illegal parking, which they say is one of the biggest safety issues the city faces.
I would have still told her shit. I don't know if they did or not. And hey, shout out to her for being alive. I'm glad she survived it. But if that were me, your shit was still illegal. I don't care if you was in it or not. The fact that you were actually in it is actually more ridiculous to me. I don't know how the fuck she survived in that for 4 fucking hours and didn't freeze to death. But I thought that story was ridiculous. I couldn't find any facts to figure out how the fuck did she get in that situation. But nonetheless, she survived it. She should have still got towed. She should have still got a ticket. Now let's go ahead and check out some good old parking war story. Now this one, a lot of them are coming out of Philly too. I seen some in Philly and Baltimore. Now before we get to the fight over the parking lot, we're gonna slowly matriculate to one that I thought was the most ridiculous. But let's take a look. We're looking at people who are in jacked up situations in a snowstorm. This was a few days ago in Philadelphia. And I'm gonna be honest, the snowplow situation in the United States is kind of crazy. Because at some point, I just really don't even think that I don't think they give a damn with who they block in while they do snow plowing. But two, even if they did give a damn, I don't think that there's actually any viable way that they could plow the streets and not block people in. But take a look at this lady car. I would be absolutely pissed. Similar situation, only this lady wasn't in her vehicle.
Many people are still trying to dig their cars out of the snow, but the owner of this car isn't going anywhere anytime soon. You've likely heard of
Look at her. I'd be so mad, man. It looked like, I don't know, that like a Nissan 300Z or something. It looked like the silhouette of that car from the side actually looked like a really nice car. This entire car is covered in dirty ass doo-doo water ice. Man, I'll be honest. I actually think this is worse than the lady who was trapped in the car. Like, although this lady isn't in the car, I would rather my vehicle be under a pile of snow as opposed to my car being just covered in completely doo-doo water ice. This is actually crazy. And I don't know. I'm so confused how it happened. It's clearly snowplow juice. Clearly, it has to be snowplow juice because it's just so brown. But like, one, it had to be cold as fuck for them to plow it to get all over your car, but it to freeze like that before it even ran off. Like, yeah, this lady isn't going. There's nothing you can do. She cannot get out of this situation. You can't hit that shit with a shovel or a pickaxe unless you want to risk fucking up your car. But at this point, I mean, like, the only thing you could do is like, I don't know. It don't even look like she's close enough to a residence where she could be out there, bitch, with a head with a blow dry or something. But this is actually ridiculous.
about this. She found her car encased in a thick layer of ice right here on the 1000 block of North Front Street in Fishtown. She says it appears a pipe burst nearby, and all of that water quickly created a large ice cube around her car.
Okay. it was a pipe that burst. She has to be the most unluckiest person in the world. Damn, that's crazy. So if it was a pipe that burst, that's actually worse. Because that's definitely not like clean water ice. That's definitely dookie water ice. So you mean a pipe burst? It probably was I don't know if it was a sewage pipe or what, but the water is giving E. coli. That's actually crazy.
Action News reporter Katie Catro live for us now at the scene in Fishtown with the latest from there. Katie.
And Shari, take a look behind me here. You can see that 2016 Honda Civic looks like a life-sized ice sculpture. The car is still encased in ice, and all day, neighbors and curious onlookers have been pulling out their phones, stopping to stare, and turning this frozen parking spot into a full-blown photo op.
I had to stop and see this car.
I feel bad for that person. Do they know that their car is there?
That person is Tiana Graham, now the unexpected owner of Philly's icy viral moment. She says her car was parked near a water main break Wednesday on the 1000 block of North Front Street in Fishtown, stuck behind caution tape as crews worked nearby. But when she stepped outside the next...
Okay, at least she could get into the other side. It looked like she could get into the other side. The other side don't look that bad. So she could get into the other side and crawl across the seat and open the door from the inside. Because if she can't open it from the outside. But if she opened the door from the inside, she could possibly push it and not fuck up her car. But I don't know if she would want to risk that.
Next day,
It was definitely a shock.
shock and ice, layers of it, sealing her car shut and freezing it in time. Not sure what to do next, Tiana turned to social media, sharing her icy situation.
Does anyone know of anyone that would be able to help me with this? Uh, and a quote, thanks. How much would y'all charge her to get her car to that shit? To get her car, all that ice out of her car. I don't know. Because you got to get her a car out of all that ice, but you also got to do it without fucking up her car. That's actually a hard job.
In a post that quickly took off.
I've looked at some of the comments. They're pretty funny.
The internet, of course, did what it does best.
Just like that I'm still going to get a ticket from the PPA. People had like photoshopped the little tickets onto the windshield of my car. So I thought that was pretty funny.
And as the laughs piled up online, so did the visitors in person.
And there were so many comments about it. I was like, I gotta see this. This is so crazy.
Up close, it's even more surreal.
It's actually crazier than I thought. I had to stop and take a picture.
It's nature's art installation, you could say. So we had to come and see it.
From water main break to winter masterpiece, this frozen car has become an accidental attraction. And through it all, Tiana is taking it in stride.
It's funny. Like, I can't help but laugh at it too. Like, it's just...
Hey, shout out to her. Tiana, you have a glowing personality and are handling this. You are handling this with true, mature decorum. Because that couldn't have been me. I'd have been out there cursing like hell. They'd have been like, what in the world? I'd have been upset. They had tables, chairs, bookcases, and all manner of shit in the street. I know. Do y'all people, like, y'all know that's like illegal? Like in some cities, like you can't have all of the extra crap. It's a public road. Like I didn't even know that until I looked to see what was going on with some of these. I'm trying to see. Can I find new project? Hold on. I'm trying to pull up my notes. I thought I had them up. Let's dismiss. All right, here you go. All right, I thought I had my notes up. But yeah, a lot of places you can't even do that type of stuff. I just want to get through some of these comments. Let's see. Just because she digged the car, does that mean she now owes the parking spot? It's been a week. This ain't your personal parking space. That's true, but I'm not even gonna lie. Like when I dug my space out and I left, I dug my space out and I was about to leave to go do something. And I saw somebody came and they stopped in the street and they like had their blinkers on and they was gonna get in my parking space. So you know what I did? I eased right back in my parking space and went in the house. I was like, whatever I was going out for, I ain't really needed that bad. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go in the house. And then I came out 30 minutes later. I ain't still around. I was like, all right, let me go do what I wanted to do now. I saw that people were stopping to take photos. It was a water main break. Whatever it was, the water looked disgusting. The ice looks disgusting. Oh yeah, illegal dumping. It is illegal dumping. People do it all the time. I've literally seen vehicles go in the alley behind my house and just like, and they dump weird shit too. Like at least if you're gonna do illegal dumping, like I let you know. One day I was driving to pull in my driveway in the back, and when I got out and looked, I let you know it was like 3,000 bras in a pile. Just straight bras. No sweatpants, no panty drawers, no used tires, no chairs, the normal stuff. It was just drawers, just a pile. I've never seen so many bras, in my damn life, just piled up in the middle of the street. Like at least 3,000. For a pile of bras to be damn near 3-4 feet off the ground and maybe 10 feet in circumference, that's a lot of damn cleavage holders. It's just ridiculous. All right, let's go ahead and check out this next story. Now, this next story, we have two videos. This was the most ridiculous one that I saw. So I said, let's say this one to talk about it last. But before we go into it, we got to know what's going on. I got some notes here. What's actually going on? Snowstorms, one, it reduces parking availability, stress, entitlement. I don't know if you've actually been out there like shoveling snow. Like I only seen one woman shoveling snow on the whole block. So shout out to the ladies. If y'all pay somebody or got somebody at home to shovel the snow, hey, respect y'all. But shoveling snow is hard, and people die every year doing that shit. When people do shoveling, you know what that means. Shoveling a space for an hour plus. I actually had to have a pickaxe. I couldn't even use a regular shovel. I had a pickaxe and a shovel out there. But when you do all of that, it gives the perceived feeling of ownership of the space. And when you have ownership of something, what does that mean? It means emotions are going to escalate faster. So the first question we're going to talk about is, can you legally save a parking spot? You see this all the time in the hood. Hey, like Royster said, it'll be chairs, bookshelves, baby strollers, orange cones, like a grill. People will put anything in a parking space to save it. I've seen people move the chairs out of a parking space, park their car there, and sit in a chair, and then a fight ensue. But generally, there's no legal ownership of a space that's on the street. Cones, chairs, trash cans does not equate to any enforceable right. Now, if it's a private property, you have assigned parking, is a totally different legal analysis because that space is actually your space. A lot of times you pay compensation to secure that space. So, now, if it were me, I think an exception to the law for purposes of shoveling out snow would be completely rational and feasible, but nobody's going to ever pass that. Now, when parking fights becomes criminal, when you have assaults, verbal threats, or gestures, it could equal to disorderly conduct, yelling, aggressive behavior in public. The biggest one you'll see is blocking traffic, because if two people fighting over a parking spot, that means one person is probably in the spot, the other person is probably in the damn street holding things up. Also, what you see a lot of is property damage, touching cars, blocking exits, moving cars aggressively. So let's take a look at this video. This is probably the most egregious I saw. It was out of good old Philadelphia, of course. Let's check this one out.
Today, we are hearing from one of the people hurt in a fight over a parking spot last week in Kensington. The incident, as you can see right here, was caught on camera. And now one of those involved says the whole fight was ultimately a misunderstanding. NBC 10's Tim Furlong has more.
Yes, I got 6 stitches here, 3 and 3.
Ale Torres still recovering from this fight caught on camera last Thursday. It started over a
Yeah, he was clearly putting in work too.
Parking spot at his house in Kensington.
I respectfully, politely asked for, if they could move their car, if I could move mine out to go to work.
He says he just needed Ana Rodriguez de Jesus to move her car a bit so he could get his out to go to work. He says,
now this ain't even a parking lot. Like, hey, I want my parking space. Bro, just like, can you move your car a little bit just so I can get out so I can go to work? I feel like it should have ended right there. That seems easy enough, simple enough. Oh, yeah, you about to go? Yo, let me go and pull out. You can leave off and then I can get back in. Simple enough. How did it get from dumb to dumber?
Just needed Ana Rodriguez de Jesus to move her car a bit so he could get his out to go to work. He says things took a bad turn quickly.
She threatened me that her son was in the car and he had a gun, license to carry a gun.
Outside, Ali admits he had a knife, but police say he and the woman's son agreed to put down their gun and knife, and they instead started punching and wrestling. That's when.
All right, now real quick, let's pause this because that's actually very interesting. One person, the victim has a knife, the perpetrator has a gun. They got these weapons, but they like, you know what? This is ridiculous to bring it to this over a parking space. Let's just put our weapons up collectively and fight. I feel like that's the stupidest part of this. You all had enough common sense to not to take it to using instruments of death but you all couldn't go just that extra step further to be like, you know what, we don't even got to fight and do all this in the first place. That's actually kind of wild.
Police say Anna got the gun and knife and admits he had a knife, but police say he and the woman's son agreed to put down their gun and knife, and they instead started punching and wrestling. That's when police say Anna got the gun and pistol whipped Ali and fired a shot into the ground. She has now been charged with a number of crimes, and Ali has been charged for his role as well.
It no sense for her to get in it, pistol whooping me, and then shooting. You know, it didn't make no sense for just pulling out your car for me to pull out.
So frustrating or not?
That's actually, I agree with him. That's actually ridiculous. He didn't even want a space. He just wanted you to pull up so he could pull out. Her boyfriend or son was clearly getting his ass whipped from that video. I've done a lot of MMA and jiu-jitsu in my life. And when you on your back and your feet kicking like that, like a turtle or a roach or something, that's like a universal sign for somebody, please come help. Girlfriend, no, mother comes out, picks the gun up, and proceeds to pistol whip the guy. I'm gonna be honest, like, in this situation, now it looked like in that video, after she pistol whipped him, the son who was getting his ass whipped proceeded to attack the victim in that case. But definitely her, she should eat charges 100%. She escalated it. She pistol whipped somebody. She could have fucking gave that guy brain damage or killed that guy. Then she actually fired a shot, discharged a firearm. Her charges 100% make sense. The other two, you could look at it in a few ways. I think the safest thing to do is we're going to charge everybody there with everything. I think that's the easiest, safest way to do it. Sometimes what a lot of law enforcement does when they walk up on a situation, if it's two people fighting, they're just like, you know what? That's just mutual combat. Y'all didn't take it to the weapons. Y'all just here whipping each other ass. Y'all both agreed to see who can take this ass whipping. So mutual combat, no charges. But I think in this scenario, especially given what's going on in the city over parking spaces and everything, I think that it kind of made sense to go ahead, charge everybody with everything that they could be charged with.
And I know this frustrates lots of people, but in Philly, just because you shovel out a parking spot does not mean you're the only one allowed to park there. It is not your parking spot. We saw similar fights in other parts of our region after this last snowstorm, and this story just shows absolutely it is not worth fighting about. Tim Furlong, NBC 10 News.
All right, let's see. I think they had an update today.
This is still a very active scene. We are right at the intersection of 8th Street and Lehigh, and as you can see behind me, it is still covered with that crime scene tape. There's also plenty of evidence at the scene, like here on the sidewalk. There is a shell casing, and then take a look on this side. A hat has been circled with chalk, as well as on top of this gray vehicle, there is also a knife. But let's go to that surveillance video that captured the incident this afternoon. Police say around 1:20 this afternoon on the block of 2700 8th Street in Kensington, an argument over a parking space turned violent. Police confirmed a 45-year-old man and a 21-year-old man were seen fighting, tossing, and turning in the snow while arguing over a parking space related to a snow emergency. During the confrontation, the 45-year-old victim took out a knife and confronted the 21-year-old offender, who took out a legal-owned gun.
Okay, now this is actually giving us more facts. Apparently, it says that the older guy, which is the victim in this case, took out the knife first, then the other guy pulled out the gun. Now, that's actually interesting. It changes the dynamic a little bit because now the guy who is appearing to be the victim from this report, if you pull out a knife first, to me, that's equal. If you pull out a knife, if somebody could walk up to me and they got a knife, I'm pulling out my gun and shooting the ass. I can't guarantee that I'm going to outrun you. I think that that's equal. I'm in fear of death or severe bodily harm, like 100%. So now it sounds a little bit different. So now we see why they probably said, you know what, we're going to charge everybody with anything, because even the victim in this case was not without fault, because according to this report now, it sounds like the victim was the one who introduced the weapons of mayhem and destruction.
Police say both men put down their weapons and began to fight. A few seconds later, that's when police say a 36-year-old woman got involved and used the offender's weapon to pistol whip the victim multiple times, as seen in the video. Police say the woman also fired a bullet into the ground. Police, once they arrived, the 45-year-old man was found suffering from a head injury that was caused by the firearm. The victim was also able to identify both offenders, and they were both arrested here at the scene. Now, officials tell us that the man is recovering in the hospital, but as you can see, it is still a very active scene here, and this continues to be under investigation. I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
Hey, stuff get crazy and real when it comes to parking cars, vehicles, especially in the snow, because you have limited spaces. So it gets kind of ridiculous. I'm gonna find one more video. It's a video I saw that was a YouTube short, actually. And this one was interesting.
Today we are hearing from one of the people hurt in a fight.
This would be the last one, but I think this is the funniest one. Let me see. Stop, dog. This will be the funniest one. This one, because it was a short, I had to pull it up a little bit different. Let's see. I'm sure it'll pop right up. Where? Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and pull this up. I was looking at my history. That's why I couldn't find it. Let's see, Forrest. I got it. Okay, it was actually two. It was actually two of them that was funny. All right, let's go ahead and I don't know if I want to use this one. This one might sound goofy. Let me see.
This girl was out here.
Yeah, I saw that one. Hold on, I think I got a better one. I'm trying to see. Damn, I thought I had a better one. Fuck. I thought I had a better one. All right, we're gonna have to rock with this one. All right, now let me lay this foundation so y'all know what y'all looking at. Let me pull the video up. Y'all probably saw this. If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna lay the foundation so you know exactly what you're looking at. In this video right here that we got on the screen, gentleman works at night. He comes out, digs out his vehicle from his parking space so he can get ready to go to work. He leaves and go to work the night shift. When he comes back, someone stole his parking space. Now, this is a little bit different because according to reports, they have actual assigned parking space. So he was actually dug out his parking space and someone else took it. And clearly he was not happy about that. So he buried the person's car in a pile of snow so that they couldn't get out, which is something that I could completely see myself being that petty. I probably wouldn't, but it would definitely cross my mind.
Girl was out here for an hour to two, digging herself out, finally, after letting the car sit for 3 days. So she finally digged herself out. She left, went and got her some food. Boop. Who's this? This is not her car. This is somebody else. Keep in mind, she took an hour to 2 hours clearing that spot. Oh, she's back home. Who the fuck is in my spot? Who the fuck is this? That's literally what I think that she's saying in the car as she's sitting there. Like, what the fuck? That's fucking bullshit. She finally drove off, came back, put a note. Then she's like, fuck this shit. She starts to fucking shovel the snow that's in the other parking spot and starts to cover this car up. Look at this shit. Just watch. Just watch. She is fucking pissed. I would too. But look at this shit.
That's hilarious. I ain't gonna lie, that's something I would do. I can see how you would be that pissed off. That's definitely something that I would do. And she took her time. She took her time to do that. That's actually crazy. But hey, I think that's a 100% warranted. I'm not saying it's not warranted. All I'm saying is, hey, man, that shit is a lot of work digging out somebody's spot. Like, I don't know. Me, maybe it's just me, but like if I'm driving somewhere and it's a spot in front of someone's house and I'm going to be there. Now, if I'm just stopping for 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, I might slide in there. But I would actually look out the window because I'd be like, if somebody pulled up and I was in their spot, I'd be like, oh, you just dug that spot out. Just as a courteous guy, I would be like, oh, all right, I'm about to roll. Don't worry about it. Give me a second. That, that would be how I would handle it. But a lot of people probably wouldn't handle it like that. She's 36 and her son is 21. What's up? Oh, Mikey. Where you at? Go out there with Alexis. Go. Get out. He's just sitting in here looking crazy. So should I move these people furniture out of the street? I don't know. I wouldn't advise you to move their furniture because if somebody's crazy enough to put like real furniture out there that's not like a lawn chair, like they'll definitely fight over that spot. Like if I'm not saying you should move it, but what I will tell you is generally I would just leave the shit alone. But if you're gonna mess with it, you need to evaluate the furniture that they put out there. If they put a like an orange cone out there, they're probably less likely to be crazy. Not saying that they can't, it's probably less likely. But if you go out there and it's snow and they put a wooden piece of furniture out there, like a table or a bookshelf, I'm leaving them the hell alone because they insane. Let's see. All that energy to do that. Hey, I get it. Luckily for me though, on my street, if somebody were to be in my spot, it's like a business establishment close by. So I could just go park in that parking lot and just kind of go to the crib. And when the person leave, I could get my spot back. So luckily, but if you don't got that situation, because think about it. If the street is completely jacked up, you got to dig your car out. You leave, someone takes your spot. You're not going to have anywhere else to park unless you dig another spot out. Nobody's gonna want to do that. That shit gonna take like an hour, especially with this snow, all that ice. I'm telling you, I was out there. I felt like I worked on a coal mine. I had an ice pick, like all sorts of weird tools that I didn't even know I had in my storage shed to be able to break this ice. So, like, I don't know. I wouldn't advise nobody to don't join the stupidity. If somebody got furniture out there, yo, just leave that shit alone. See if you can park on another block or something like that. Even though I completely I don't blame her. Like that I completely understand how it felt. And all the things that we saw in this video, I've actually said after I dig the snow out. I was like, yo, if somebody take my spot, I'm gonna whoop their ass. Or you know what? I actually thought about when I got out of my spot to leave, I thought about putting loose snow back in my spot just enough the way it'll deter somebody from actually parking in there, but I didn't do it. It's not your spot, but when you have sweat equity in something, you think of it as yours because you have actual physical sweat equity in it. You're like, yo, I put in sweat. My back hurt because I shoveled out this space so my old ladies, so my moms, so my grandma can park here and now somebody came and take my spot. That shit is kind of like, I mean, I get it as a mature adult and it's on a public street. Yes, you're 100% right. But I understand completely why somebody would feel some way. Exactly. I'm living it, and I leave a chair out every day. What would you do if you came home and your chair was sitting on the sidewalk and somebody was parked in your space? That's what I want to know. What would you do if you came home and that folded up chair you had or whatever chair you had was on the sidewalk and there was a car parked in your space? I'm telling you, you would sweat equity. I'm telling you, man, when you sweat and your back hurt and you like actually toil and like physically manually do something, like you always get vested to it. Like I built a bar downstairs, and when my son was younger, he took like I don't know, like a butter knife and like carved his initials in the countertop, and I was fucking pissed. I was like, I would have been pissed either way, but because that shit, I had to build that shit, cut that granite countertop, use a wet saw so it didn't crack, like fuck it up a couple times, go on YouTube, figure it out. Like when you put your sweat and equity into something, you stand back and look like literally after I shoveled the car out, I stood back and was like, look at that, what I did. I done got this car out of the snow. You stand back and admire your work, and it give you a sense of ownership. You see? That's hilarious. Probably cry after working all day. I would be pissed. Like I know I would be pissed. Like what I think the play would be. Like you wouldn't get your spot back, but it's equally as annoying. Like you wouldn't get because either way you're not getting your spot back if somebody is there. But I think it's easier rather than to repack snow. Like I ain't gonna tell y'all to be petty, but I'm saying like it's actually easier just like to let the air out of their tires or something. Like something like that'll be easier than re-digging the snow, in my personal opinion. But probably cry. I understand completely. Yo, the big takeaway from today's story is from story number one. Hey, that guy who committed that heinous act, evil does have a face, and it clearly was his in that story. But with this weather, like if it's a public street, it's a public street. You can't set furniture out in most places, not all places, but a lot of places in Philadelphia, it's actually illegal to set out furniture and cones on a public street and do all of that stuff. Like you would actually legit get a citation or could get a citation. So the bottom line is, I understand your sweat equity is in the space that you dug out, but if somebody took it, just spin the block until you can find something else. Even if you got to park a block or two away, that's always going to be better than risking losing your life, risk getting incarcerated, catching a charge, a misdemeanor, or whatever over a parking space. That's always the way to go. It's been 7 days since it snowed. It ain't your parking space. I 100% agree, but you are going to have an emotional connection to that spot you dug out. Yo, tomorrow we are going to cover the story of an Olympic snowboarder who turned into a drug kingpin. We're going to actually go a little old school. I got the indictment. We're going to go pull up that indictment. It was Olympic hopeful. Well, he was actually skated in the Olympics, I think in 2012 or 2014, representing Canada, and he ended up becoming a drug lord and was on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, was recently arrested 7 days ago, and apparently he was on the run for years because he had the protection of the Sinaloa cartel. So we're going to go ahead and go through that indictment and figure out how someone goes from chasing a gold medal to trying to become the next or becoming the next Pablo Escobar. We're going to talk about it. As always, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Y'all be safe, stay sane, spin the block, park somewhere else. If it's a public street, it's not yours. If it's assigned parking space, you have the right to bury them back in. But I'm not telling y'all to do that. Let me see. Yeah, my spot is clean. Yeah, that's right. Because someone who didn't dig their spot out, they just drove over there, drove over the snow, and has left a messy spot. My spot is clean. Yeah. Now, if you got a 4-wheel drive, you could do that. Like, yeah, if I'm in the truck, I'm in an SUV, I just be riding over all that shit. But nah, my car is only rear wheel drive. I'd be stuck assed out, and I definitely don't want to be assed out. But I'm not trying to fight nobody over a parking spot. My feelings are going to be hurt, and I'm going to probably cuss and talk a lot of shit in the privacy of my own home. Yo, y'all take care. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all be safe. The dog, I think, he ready to go out. So I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.